The most famous Scottish food is haggis. This consists of sheep's stomach, which is packed with bits of meat, onion, oats, which is a kind of cereal, species, and salt. Robert Burns, Scotland's national poet, wrote about how good haggis is in a famous poem. Porridge is another typical Scottish dish. It is made by boiling oats in milk or water, and in a traditional Scottish breakfast it is served with salt. There are different variations for this dish, where people also add fruits, such as blueberries, bananas, blackberries, or strawberries, nuts, or honey. Also, Scotland is known for its Scotch pie. A Scotch pie can be served hot or cold, and has a filling of minced mutton or other meat. Every year, butchers and bakers from far and wide compete for the honorable title of World Scotch Pie Champion. You may prefer Scottish shortbread, a delicious butter biscuit. Scotland is also well known for its very good Aberdeen Angus beef and salmon.
Scotland is internationally known for its traditional music, which has been kept alive throughout the 20th and 21st centuries, when a good part of traditional music lost popularity in favor of pop music. Scottish music has maintained its traditional aspects, influenced by many other types of music. Scottish dances are called Gaelic. They are easy to learn, they often seem more complicated than they really are. This type of dance is usually very lively. Currently, they can be seen on special occasions such as weddings and other events.
The most iconic places of Scotland are Edinburgh, the Scottish Highlands, Glasgow, and Aberdeen. Edinburgh is the capital of Scotland, and it's very popular with tourists who comes to see the castle and the famous streets such as Princess Street and the Royal Mile. Every August, the Edinburgh Festival takes place. It is the one of the most important festivals of theatre and music in the world. Many famous writers and philosophers have lived in Edinburgh. For example, J.K. Rowling, who wrote Harry Potter. The Scottish Highlands are the mountains and valleys in the northern half of the country. The landscape is amazing. Loch Lomond is the largest lake in Scotland, and Loch Ness is the most famous. The tallest mountain in the British Isles is Ben Nevis in the Highlands. People have sometimes taken a strange object to the top of Ben Nevis for fun, for example, a piano. Glasgow and Aberdeen are other Scottish cities. Aberdeen is the center of the North Sea oil industry. Aberdeen has less than 7 hours daylight in winter and 18 hours in summer. Glasgow is the largest city in Scotland. In recent years, Franz Ferdinand and Snow Patrol have been successful music bands from this city. The Loch Ness Monster is the most creature of Scotland. There is a legend that Seikumbah saw a water beast in the 6th century near Loch Ness. Dolly the sheep is another famous Scottish animal. She was cloned at a scientific institute near Edinburgh in 1996. It was the first time that a mammal was cloned. William Wallace and Robert the Bruce were two great Scottish heroes who fought for independence from England in the Middle Ages. Mary Queen of Scots had a dramatic and very sad life. She was crowned Queen of Scots when she was a baby in 1543. Robert Burns is a Scotland national poet. He died when he was only 37, but his poems live on. There are many other famous Scottish people. There are writers like Sir Walter Scott, Robert Louis Stevenson, and Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, who created Sherlock Holmes. There are actors like Sean Connery, who played James Bond, singers like Susan Boyle, who was in the Britain Got Talent competition in 2009 and became internationally famous. There are many famous scientists and inventors. For example, James Watt, who invented the steam engine. Alexander Bell, who invented the telephone. Alexander Fleming, who discovered an antibiotic which has prevented many serious diseases.
These are some of the celebrations in Scotland. The fair footing is in the 1st of January, visiting friends and relatives immediately after New Year's Eve in the early hours of the morning of January 1st. Fair footing after the bells have rung in the new year is still common. In the fair foot should carry symbolic coal, shortbread, salt, black bun, a spice cake, and whiskey. Burns Night takes place on the birthday of Robert Burns in the 25th of January. People read poems and sing songs by Burns. The center of a traditional Burns Night is a haggis, a paper placed as the haggis is carried into the room, and before it is cut, someone reads Burns' poem to a haggis. New Year is more important than Christmas in Scotland. The Scottish have a special celebration on 31 of December known as Hogmanay. There are street parties in Edinburgh and Glasgow and other cities. In Stonehaven, there is fireball swinging all over Scotland, and in other countries where Scottish people live, Hogmanay is celebrated and Old Slang Sing is sing.
Sports and hobbies in Scotland. Sport plays a central role in Scottish culture. The temperature oceanic climate has played a key role in the evolution of sport in Scotland, with all-weather sports such as soccer and golf dominating the nationality sport consequences. However, many other sports are played domestically, with popularity between the sports and between regions. The most outstanding sports in Scotland are rugby, soccer and golf. Rugby is one of the start sports. Some of the Scotland hobbies are playing the violin, the accordion, the BPP, the pointer guitar, and clarinet, a type of Scottish harp, and with this the dance is very typical.
There are many Scottish old stories, myths, and legends, but today I'm going to talk about one of my favorites. One of Scotland's most famous unsolved mysteries is that of the Loch Ness Monster, or Nessie, as it has affectionately come to be known. The large dinosaur-like creature is reputed to inhabit Loch Ness in the Scottish Highlands. Nessie has a long neck and one or more humps protruding from the water. The first recorded sighting of the monster was nearly 1,500 years ago, when a giant beast is said to have leapt out of a lake near Inverness and eaten a local farmer. Since then, the myth of the Loch Ness Monster has magnified. In 1934, a London doctor snapped a photograph that seemed to show a dinosaur-looking creature emerging from the water. Dozens of sightings have since been claimed, many of which have turned out to be hoaxes. In 2009, a newspaper reader claims to have spotted Nessie whilst browsing Google's Earth satellite photos of Loch Ness. Regardless of the truth, the suggestion of the monster's existence makes Loch Ness one of Scotland's most popular tourist attractions, with thousands visiting their shores each year with the hope of catching a rare glimpse of the famous monster. In 2003, The BBC sponsored a search of the loch using 600 sonar beams and satellite tracking. No animal of substantial size was found, and, despite the reported hopes, the scientists admitted this proved the Loch Ness Monster was a myth.